But it did get me thinking that the only way to do this was not for the feature films. Much as I would have liked to have a $200 million budget, I thought it was better to tell the entire story with all of the characters and all the complexity, and the only way to do that is television.
A couple of weeks ago, HBO's chief executive Casey Bloys announced that Warner Brothers is working on a film based on George R. R. Martin's world. There's no indication of what this movie will be about, but it won't be run on HBO. It'll be released in theaters. I'm sure Dan and Dave were thrilled to hear the news. They originally pitched to HBO the idea of ending the Game of Thrones saga in a film trilogy rather than on the network. But this is a different story. Whether this is a standalone film or one of a number of them, it's not going to be based on a story that people have been watching for years on television and are then forced to pay additional money to see in a theater. Speculation has been running rampant about what the show will be about. Some have suggested that it could be Robert's Rebellion, and while that's a story I really want to see told, I think due to the intricate personal relationships between the various houses and the political maneuvering, it's one that would be best told in a longer form television format. Another popular choice has been the Blackfire Rebellion. Like Robert's Rebellion, I think this one would also be best suited for TV. It's also a less well known period for more general fans and not something I think they could draw a wider audience to. And let's face it, if you're going to do your first theatrical release from Martin's world, it's going to have to include dragons. So I think that gives us two options. The first is Valyria. I'm really interested in learning the mysteries of the Doom along with the various dragon riding families, Dany's dream, and how the Targaryens settled on Dragonstone. Unfortunately, though, I think it's too removed from Westeros for them to want to go all in on a film. I don't rule it out completely, though, because the dragons would still be a huge selling point for a general audience, including people that haven't even delved into Martin's world before. So, what does that leave us? Aegon's Conquest. I know, it's supposed to be the next series in line after House of the Dragon finally craters and The Night of the Seven Kingdoms premieres. But I wonder, since they have the Batman's Mattson Tomlin now on board for the Conquest, if someone at Warner Brothers hasn't thought, hey, let's run this as a film or maybe even a couple of them based on the Conquest. That's my hunch anyway on what they're considering. Would I rather see Aegon's Conquest play out on TV where we could delve more deeply into it? Yes, but after what happened with House of the Dragon in season 2, I just want the best adaptation of the story, and if doing it in a film or two will do it the most justice, I'll take that trade off. Then there's this recent blog post from George where he said, "We also got together with Maisie Williams for pizza and pasta and talked about, well, better not get into that. Do not want to jinx it, but it could be so much fun." Some saw this and speculated that the Warner Brothers film could be about Arya, but I don't think so. George also loves to troll a bit in his blogs, and if there are discussions about anything with Macy, my bet is it doesn't even have to do with the A Song of Ice and Fire world. He's a producer for AMC's Dark Winds, and who knows what other projects he's considering. I mean, as long as it's not Winds of Winter, he's all in. And I don't think HBO wants to go down the path of reminding viewers of the Game of Thrones ending, particularly as they push new series and films, so I think Arya is out. And that brings us once again to the Jon Snow project, which was shelved earlier this year. This wasn't something I was excited about, but I know there are some people that are really interested in seeing it, and they took hope in what Casey Bloys said recently after confirming that Jon Snow was no longer in development. Bloys simply said, "Maybe we'll try again."
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah, I wouldn't be waiting for this to be greenlit. And I think if we ever do hear that it is, then it's time for the warning sirens to go off because it'd be an indication that HBO is squeezing the last bit of revenue they can out of the franchise before discarding it. I always felt that a Jon series was a last resort project. So far, with the cancellation of Jon Snow, Blood Moon, which was the Long Night series that they did a pilot for, and other projects, HBO has shown that they're more careful with what they air than AMC, which has completely run the Walking Dead franchise into the ground with a long line of series. So I wouldn't take George seriously on his get together with Maisie Williams. The film, if we see one, I think will contain dragons and most likely be about Aegon's Conquest, which is already in development. Speaking of dragons, I did a video on Valyria a few weeks ago. I'm going to link it below. Occasionally, YouTube plays these odd games where they seem to suppress your channel for a short period, and That video just never got into the algorithm and was way below my normal views. YouTube just continues to be a mystery wrapped in an enigma. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to hit the like button. If you're interested in more on House of the Dragon and A Song of Ice and Fire, listen to Caraxes and subscribe. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you soon.